Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Welcome to Mesa County Compass. Today we are interviewing Beverly Lampley with Catholic Outreach, and I'm saying welcome to you, Beverly.
Thank you.
First of all, we'd like to start off with having you give us a little information about yourself and how you came to be in this job.
And how long you've been in it. And then we're going to ask you what you do in it.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. You may hear later, I'm from the South, Nashville, Tennessee. And went to Vanderbilt. And my husband, Vanderbilt graduate also, went to the Atomic Energy Commission, then Department of Energy. And we traveled around and finally ended up in Grand Junction after tours in Albuquerque and Los Alamos and different places, Oak Ridge. And I'd always done this kind of work. I started out in the mountains in East Tennessee doing social work by myself. And I was 23 years old then. Cute little thing with short skirts and the whole bit, going out knocking on cabin doors and all that kind of stuff. But I loved it. And I did that, and then for a number of years, 4 or 5 years, and then we were transferred. And I got another job working with, because of my resume, I have a degree in public administration and social work. And I got a degree with a Fortune 500 company to take their regulations and behaviors and stuff to indigenous populations. So I worked for 5 years on the Navajo reservation doing this, but essentially doing what I am, dealing with people, talking about their problems, talking about the children, talking about how they get out of the situation that they're in, just in being one with them. So after a time we were transferred here, and I continued that job with the Fortune 500 company for a while, and I decided I wanted to retire. My husband said, retire, what can you do? That lasted about 5 minutes. And I said, no, I can't do that. But in the interim, I had met Sister Karen Bland, who, if you don't know, is an absolute marvel, has been the director of Catholic Outreach since for about 25 years. And she and I became friends. And I talked to her about one job she had, and she said, do you want that? She said, but I've applied for a housing grant with HUD. And should I get that housing grant, I need somebody to come here and develop the program.
Okay.
Would you be interested? I said, of course. Did I know how to do it? No, but of course. And so we had passed each other at the symphony for about a year and a half. And finally she called me and she says, I got the money. I'll be there in 2 weeks. And that was in 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
20 years ago. And so we developed the housing program, which started out with a scattered cell housing program, and it has evolved to the permanent supportive housing that we have now.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the housing program, and how many do you have, and how many people can you take care of, and how do the people qualify to be part of that housing program?
Okay, we have 63 apartment units for chronically homeless, dually diagnosed individuals. Now, we started out with 7 houses for chronically homeless, disabled type people who wanted to get back on their feet. They were somewhat, I don't want to say higher, but they were closer to self-sufficient.
Okay.
And that program, over the years, because HUD pulled funding for it, has diminished to 1 house now. But we had about an 85% success rate, meaning after 2 years they stay housed and kept their jobs. But now we went into permanent supportive housing. We've got St. Benedict Place, he opened that in 2008. 2011, we opened Martin 1. 2015, we opened St. Martin 2. And altogether, there's 63 units for dually diagnosed chronically homeless people. In addition to that, and I'll come back to that, we have a day center that serves the literally homeless people on the street. Baths, showers, laundry, mail, coffee, doctors, therapists, whatever. And that's open 5 days a week because we have an obligation to them. The apartments, we just broke ground for Mother Teresa Place, which will be 40 more apartments.
And that's the one on 4th across from Hawthorne.
Yes, yes.
Whitman.
Yep.
I'll pick a place.
40 units for the most vulnerable among us.
And what do you consider the most vulnerable?
Well, at this point, there are 3 women, 2 of whom are over 70, in wheelchairs that are on the street. They're vulnerable. One of them is a paraplegic, and very vulnerable women. And women are more vulnerable than men, but men are too.
Yes.
Lots of people with short stature, as Sister says, who are victims by their peers. A lot that are drug and alcohol, and they can't really, they're targets. So we're going to house those folks that nobody else will house, because we got to that point because somebody needs to do something. That was how we got our meetings. Somebody needs to do something. And we finally said, hey, we'll do it. And Sister Karen and I started talking about this right before COVID. And then COVID hit and everything stopped. And so we had to get back in gear, but we've broken ground now. And a year from now, we'll be talking about the people in Mother Teresa Place.
Okay. That sounds really neat. So how do you do the property management on those places, or do you have property managers?
We do it.
You do it yourself? Okay. Do you do it with volunteers, or
No.
you do it?
We do it with some with volunteers, but the property management itself is done with staff members. Now I want you to know, we have 14 staff members, 500 volunteers.
Wow.
To make this happen.
Right.
So that money that's donated to us and that we get from grants goes directly to the people that need it. We use the pencil down to there. We use both sides of the paper, if you get my drift.
Good. Good.
So, yeah. But in addition to that, we have a financial aid side, which our business is basically homelessness and preventing people from becoming homeless. So we have a financial aid side that has rental assistance. And we spent almost $300,000 in the last 6 months on rental assistance to keep people from being evicted. That's
so
huge.
is that similar to the Section 8 thing and that Grand Junction Housing Authority is
Section
involved
8,
with?
It's a voucher program.
Okay.
Now, we have vouchers too that we have through the Housing Authority. But this is straight market rent housing that, for whatever reason, people have gotten behind in their rent, and they're about to be evicted. And quite frankly, in this rental market, if somebody gets evicted at the price point that the people we serve are at, they're not going to find something.
No, they won't. That's right.
So,
yeah.
So you subsidize them with their rent. Okay. So how do people apply for that? I mean, that is something that I don't think many people know about.
They need to come to our office at 245 South First between 9 and noon, closer to 9 than noon, and say, I need rental assistance.
Wow.
And then they'll see a couple of volunteers, because volunteers do the intake, and then they'll see a volunteer or the staff member who's an interviewer, and they'll go through we go through a budgeting process with them, financial literacy, and then we also are the Energy Outreach Colorado agency for this area.
Okay.
So
I
that
did
they
not
can
realize that.
they can get help with their electrical bills.
Yes.
Excel.
Yeah.
Okay. So that funding, is that all through grants? Your $300,000? Is that a $300,000 that you have available for that? And then is that a yearly type thing, you have to reapply for
It's
the
an
grant?
ongoing type thing. And I write those grants, most of them.
Oh boy, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. You're
Yeah.
very talented just to do that alone.
Yeah, the grant writing.
Let alone anything else.
So on one of the things that Scott had said that I wasn't aware of is he said that when they go to Catholic Outreach, because I would think we did some asbestos inspections there, and I was so impressed with that whole operation and how clean it was and friendly. And so she said that Scott said you register. So would you do that at the First Street, or you wouldn't go to Catholic Outreach first on Third?
Oh, no, you'd go to First Street.
Okay.
For everything, First Street is our administrative office.
Okay.
Yeah, for everything.
Okay. And when they do that, what would that process look like, and what would walk me through? So I'm somebody that's needing help.
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to look like? I get down there. What are you going to be able to
You open
help
the
me
door.
with? Okay.
You open the door.
Good start.
Good start. Good
They
start.
come in, line up. We have a reception desk,
Uh-huh.
and the receptionist says, "Good morning. How are you? What can we help you with?" And they'll say rental assistance or food or whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, they're given a number. We have 2 intake people that enter their information in the computer. We try not to have people tell their story over and over and over.
Right.
Tell it one time and enter that, and then she'll put them to the right interviewer so that they can be served.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll remiss, we have a clothing bank too, where people come in. That's one of our most popular. People can come in once every 7 days and take whatever they need free. Everything we do is free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then you'd meet whatever need that they had.
Yeah.
Because what Scott was saying too is a lot of times that people can't get transportation to different things, and he sent us a thing on your resource guide which was substantial. I mean, there are all sorts of things. Do most people know about what all the different things that are provided, and do you hand them like a whole packet of it, or do you just say as needed when they tell you something?
No, we'll give them a resource guide when they're there so that they can, and then when the interviewer talks to them, they'll delve a little bit deeper and see if there are other things, you know. And if they don't ask for food, we'll always say, "Can we get a box of food for you today?"
Oh, nice.
You know,
Yeah.
because we may not can do something, but we may not can do water, say, but we can do food, and that costs interchange, gives them money in their pocket that maybe they can, pay the water bill.
Okay.
Do you have people that you have to turn away?
Yeah, unfortunately, we try to, and COVID made this a little bit different. We're not a saving organization. By that I mean we don't pay your rent every month. One time, once a year.
Okay.
Once a year. Used to be once a lifetime, but that in this economy doesn't work. So once a year.
Okay. So it's just 1 month. You would give them that leg up then.
So they don't
Well,
lose that and have to go out and find
right.
a new place.
Right, and it could be that we're helping them with 2 or 3 months rent. If they're that bad.
But as long as they're on a program to work towards being self-sufficient, then that is one of the requirements.
That's it.
Okay.
So what sort of things do they have to show you that they are working toward becoming self-sufficient?
Well, a job prospect, or what are you doing? They need to have a lease in their name. They need to we try to have some sort of income. We get a lot of younger people, and not to put a rap on them, but have got the cell phone and all the ads on, and the cable TV, you call it something else now, and all those things, and they can't pay the rent. And we might suggest, have you thought about not having the cable TV at home? I mean, that's $250 some for me.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we counsel them on that. It's their decision. I mean,
Because this is going to be a one-time thing, so maybe you're going to have to do something different until you can get a better job or whatever.
And a lot of people, I mean, Christmas is a big shopping time in the clothing bank, because it's not just a clothing bank, it's a clothing and everything else bank. lots of toys.
Oh, good.
Lots of, some moms come in and do the shopping for that. And back to school's big time.
Yeah, that's an important thing, is because we know that they have to come back after Christmas vacation and all of that and go back to school and start again. So,
And school supplies are expensive.
Yeah.
So we try to have some school supplies too.
Very good.
very interesting. Well, we understand, and maybe it's gossip, I don't know, but we understand that there has been a huge increase in the homeless population in the last year even. And is that being anticipated that it will at least double, if not more, within a very short period of time. Are you prepared, or how can you prepare for something like that, or are you prepared for it?
Well, you can. You can. We'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll expand it. We'll get more volunteers. I happen to, in addition to my job at Catholic Outreach, I chair the Grand Valley Coalition for the Homeless. And so we've got 42 agencies that are talking about that very thing. What do we do? And I just read the whole story from the Denver Post, I think it is, today, about all the Venezuelans that are coming, up there, and the problems and the tents and everything. And as luck would have it, I'm a rep pay for a couple of disabled women. And the checks normally were due on Monday. They finally got here today. Those women were going crazy because of rent and all this other stuff. And one of them is homeless. And I said, when the check comes, because she's ill right now, I'll get it to you. She's living in a tent in Emerson Park, sick. And I went down there, and I hadn't been to Emerson Park since all this happened with Whitman Park.
Right.
And when I passed by, it wasn't too bad. It's bad. I mean, there are tents everywhere. There are people with just sleeping on the ground. There are people that have their sleeping bags on the ground. Can we expect more? Yeah.
Where are they coming from?
Well,
Do you think?
up until now, 90% of the homeless people were Mesa County residents. Now, we'll know in about a month where they're coming from now, because I chaired the committee that does the point in time count. We actually go out and touch homeless people and count and fill out a survey for them. And we ask them, where are you from? Where,
And why are you here?
And why are you here?
Yeah. And what do they say when you ask, if they're not from Mesa County, why do they come to Mesa County?
Because of the climate.
Okay.
It's supposed to be really cold in Denver today. And I listened to the weather on the way up here, and it's going to be chilly, but 40 degrees tomorrow, They can live in that. But when it gets minus,
Right.
So that's one of it. And they say, it's a cross point. It's a big drug capital, unfortunately. So, yeah, it has been.
So how do you handle that portion of it? That's unnerving.
Yeah, it is. And we're constantly unaware in our housing, particularly. I mean, that's throughout the door.
Okay.
Education. Unfortunately, we don't have enough real treatment for that.
Right.
And the nearest real recovery is Phoenix or Denver or something.
Isn't that a shame that we don't have something closer than that? Being a hub, if you will, we do need things like that
absolutely.
here. Is there any hope, or have you heard of anything that might be coming?
And that is a good question. Like, how many addiction counselors do you have in your agency, or do you? Because I understand you have some caseworkers that work with these people. Is it more on just meeting their needs, like the housing and that sort of stuff, not the psychological or the drug addiction or anything like that?
Yeah.
And do you have any the counselors for that?
We have three that counsel about drugs, and then several others that, as part of the conversation, will counsel. I'm the only social worker on staff, so I get the real messy one, and which is fine. But we refer a lot to other agencies, and we have a really good relation. This is a neat town. for nonprofits. It's getting a little different now. We've got people coming in that want to do it like they did in California. And I go, excuse me, this is not California. And then what we're doing is working. So back up. But we've got a really good relationship. And when I talk about this homeless coalition, we've got 6 probably organizations that focus just strictly on drugs and alcohol. And we discuss those problems here too.
And do you see much help?
Yeah.
People changing and being able to go out and become self-sufficient? Because that's the goal.
Yeah.
You don't want to be homeless.
No. I neat little story. When the very first day I started with Catholic Outreach, there was a call that came in, and Sister Karen got it for some reason, and she said, "Here, this is the address. Why don't you go take care of it?" So I went, and it was a young mom who was a drug user, who had just had a baby. And didn't know what to do, so I took her under my wing, and we worked together for over a year, and she cleaned up, and she and I kind of lost track of each other, but about 6 or 8 months ago, we start every morning with prayer, and I noticed a space coming in the prayer circle. It was her. And she said, "Remember me?" I said, "Of course I remember you." The child is now graduated high school.
Oh my!
She's doing well. She's the mom is clean, has been clean for a number of years.
Oh my goodness!
And you know, those are the kind of things, and it happens. And you know, we talk about treatment, and treatment has gotten. And I'm not downplaying the importance of treatment, but what really is important is for people to have somebody that cares. And you don't have to have a fancy degree to care. You just have to be able to walk beside a person and listen to them. And that's what we do. We do a lot of listening. Have you thought of this? You know, I'll be here next week. I've got a plaque in my office that my daughter sent me. And the Hokey Pokey Resource Center, where you turn yourself around.
Oh, how neat is that?
Very good.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best way, because you see the people panhandling, what is the best way to address that, for people that are seeing that?
Don't give them money. Don't give them money. There was a campaign about, 10 years ago, time passes. So small change doesn't make a change.
Right.
And that's true. If somebody's panhandling, it's either going to a night in a motel, which I can night in a motel, drugs or alcohol, period. There's plenty of food in the valley.
Right.
It's not food.
Yeah.
Because you'll see these
and
hungry.
It's not gas.
Yeah.
You're going, where's your gas? Yeah. So do you find some homeless, because you do see a lot with animals, and do they have the animals, do you think, more for protection or for company or?
Family.
Yeah, family. Because that makes it difficult too in finding housing. So
it does.
Would your housing allow if somebody had
We
a
allow-
well-behaved dog?
We allow small dogs.
Okay.
I forget the weight limit, 40 pounds, I think. And finally allowing cats too. That took a little bit. And but not the larger dogs, because they've done destruction. We have allowed larger dogs. Yeah.
And so does that keep some people
Yeah.
on the street because they can't give
Yeah.
up the dog?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't either.
No.
I'd probably stay out.
And then, if I'm working with somebody like that, I said, okay, then you're going to come in here every week, and you're going to tell me how you're doing. And so we just did that.
Oh, that's good.
So you managed to stay in touch with them anyway.
Yeah.
That's important.
Because that's what they need. Jody at our day center is really good with that. We've got about over 300 people that get mail at the day center. And they all cycle in and cycle out, depending. And they just need a place to just be, where somebody knows their name. these camps are bad. They're bad.
I would think they were dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly some. Some by the river are more dangerous. Others, I don't go down as often as I used to. Yeah.
Well, 'cause
Not a good
you're
place to
small.
go.
You're small. You know. So then, what can we do for those camps? I mean, what do you think the city or Catholic Outreach? What would be the best way to address that so that you don't have that dangerous situation? Because are they choosing that, or is that just that's all?
A little of both.
Okay.
And there are two different points of view.
Okay.
My point of view is you can educate people to come out. You can.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can go back, you're not going to catch them. You're not going to put them in it, there are other people, oh, they're so pitiful. Let's carry some food to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take them blankets.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's enabling.
exactly. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
We don't want to enable bad habits.
No, and if you come out, you can see the doctor. You come out, you can get a hot meal. You come out, and at lunchtime, you wouldn't believe how many dogs are tied up outside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're well behaved.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any problem.
Yeah.
Right.
No Yorkies.
No, you're
We know about them. They would not be the well-behaved group.
No, I have, in addition to the Yorkie, I have 8 cats.
Oh, my.
But they all get along, except when one has bad behavior. They all have bad behavior.
So what do you think about this new resource center that is going in behind Wells Fargo, the old Wells Fargo building? Do you think that's going to help with your situation or hinder it?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's what we want.
And I'll tell you why. They're marketing that as providing resources for services that the people that were going to Whitman Park were trying to get before they closed Whitman Park. People going to Whitman Park weren't looking for services.
Mm.
They were looking for drugs or alcohol
Okay.
or camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where they met. So there's a little bit of disillusionment there, which they know. I've said that loudly in several meetings. The day center offers everything that they're talking about for a cheaper price. I mean, cost.
Right.
Okay.
And people
So it would be better to put that money towards you.
Yeah.
And give you the extra.
Well, that would be one solution. The problem is this. At the day center, you come in, you're having a shower, you're doing your laundry, you have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You have a purpose.
Right.
You don't just come there to lay around and smoke your cigarettes. No. And they want a place where they can come and just be.
Mm.
And it's going to be 8 to 8,
Mm-hmm.
which is a kind of troublesome time period for me. I mean, you turn people loose at 8 o'clock at night. Where are they going? Downtown? St. Martin Place? Mischief? I don't know. I wish them well. I wish them well.
See, I thought that they were somehow going to be affiliated with you
No.
when they create that.
No.
That's kind of the perception that's out there,
I
and
know.
that's what we'd like to clean up.
Yeah.
Is
No.
this perception?
We are no way part of that. In no way.
Mm.
All right, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if somebody is homeless, can they qualify for any governmental assistance, even though they're homeless? So,
Sure.
what kind of things could they qualify for?
Aid to the disabled, SSI,
Mm-hmm.
food stamps,
Mhm.
old age pension. Yeah. And we help them get those.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good. Can they qualify for welfare at all?
Yeah, they can get TANF.
And that would be why they'd need an ID and a place to your mail service
Uh-huh.
that you do.
Yeah.
And I know that they can have that phone number if they're doing job interviews. What about the transportation aspect? Is that hard for them, or
We have bus passes that we give to them if they're like going for a job interview,
right?
or they've got a doctor's appointment.
Right.
We have passes to give them.
Oh, good, good. But all of your funding is grant money, because I know the city, when Scott was here, that something I didn't know is he said, we can pay that initial maybe building structure or something, but not this ongoing expenses. So all of Catholic Outreach and all of the programs they do are basically grants.
No, grants, but 60% of our funding roughly comes from donors, individual donors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Amazing. So on your volunteers, how do you solicit for volunteers? And
We don't have to.
You don't have to. You have that many people that want to help. Oh, that is
fantastic.
great. That is great.
Yeah.
You are a wonderful inspiration.
Well, God put you where I'm the luckiest person in the world. Angela Walsh, who is the soup kitchen director, and I argue, I got the best job in town. I do. She thinks she does, but I get to talk. I get to talk to you and tell you about something I love. And I do. When you get to this point, I retired. In between that, I retired again. It lasted 10 minutes.
Well, that'll teach you.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm not doing it again.
Keeps you young.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can do what your skills are, but you can do what you love too. So, I can write grants, which is my business side, but I can counsel people and see a change. And that's important to me.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't like to cook, so that wouldn't be, the soup kitchen would not be my job. I think kitchens could be closets, you don't
you're one
really
of
need
those,
to.
huh?
I cook, but I'm forced.
Well,
I want to eat.
Well, there's that. I read a story one time in the magazine or something, and the gal used the stove as to store her shoes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, I use the kitchen, and I do cook, and I like to entertain sometimes, but this daily basis stuff.
Well, it does get old,
Well, I know a lady that works at the soup kitchen, and it is a hard business to be in, but rewarding, because she says it's just absolutely, she and her husband work there, and says it's very rewarding.
Oh, we've got the best. I mean, they're just great. And Angela, the director, doesn't cook.
Oh, really?
No.
How fun.
She didn't like to cook. She didn't, but she
coordinate everything.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
there's a job for everyone then.
Right.
Well, and even with the soup kitchen, most of the food that we use is donated. We're so blessed. People love Catholic Outreach. And so they bring us things. And it's just because everybody wants to be involved, I think.
So would anybody that wanted to donate bring it down to the First Street? And do you have hours that you accept
9 to
donations?
3:30.
Okay.
Would you repeat that, please?
9 to 3:30.
Okay.
Monday through
All right.
Friday.
Great.
And you'll accept, what do you not accept for donations?
Computers.
Understood.
And those kinds of things. That's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very nice. Do you have any other questions?
I don't have any. Do you have anything that you would like to say in closing, Beverly?
Well, I wrote a list of topics that I should kind of remember to talk about if I can find it in my pocket. And, there it is. I'll just be sure I don't miss anybody, or I'll hear about it.
Right.
Yes.
No. Catholic Outreach is known locally. We're also known, we're active in the community and lots of things. I mentioned the Homeless Coalition. We're also very, very active in the state homeless initiative. So
Okay.
I should tell you that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well-
Well, Beverly, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Well, thank
You have cleared up some questions that we had and some misconceptions that are out there, and I think that people need to hear this.
Yeah.
I do too.
Thank you.
Thank you very
both.
much.
Well, you've been listening to Mesa County Compass. This is the truth as we see it, and the facts as we know them. You decide.
Thank you.